Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey Trotzel. We are a vegan, kind of a high-protein channel. We try and do whole foods where we can. Sometimes we have to add in some tempeh and seitan and that sort of thing. So if you like what you hear so far, please hit that like button, show us some love, and think about subscribing and becoming part of the Plant-Based Dads family. Alright, so today it's Sunday, and I'm going to make a video about meal prepping, because I have a lot of meal prepping to do. It's the first week of May, is it? What is this? Well, May 4th. May the 4th be with you! And I don't know if you're still watching this, but happy birthday to Cooper Osborne. I know it's your birthday, and I always remember that, even though I haven't talked to you for many, many years. I think Cooper's 19 now. He's one of Lex's old friends when he used to go to a different school before I moved him to be at the school that I was teaching at. And his birthday falls on May the 4th, and he absolutely hates Star Wars, so he hates any association with it, so let's not talk about it. So today we're going to do a meal prep video. I'm going to make some food for Lex, I'm going to make some food for us, so I'll tell you what the difference is. Some of the stuff, I think all the stuff we've made before, but you may not have seen it in a while, and I'm going to start it all off with food for the hummingbirds. Let's get started. You know, it's a really nice day out, and I would love to open the blinds behind me, but I can't because the camera will see the light and it won't focus on me and it goes out of focus, which is why we always have that window blind closed. Otherwise, it's always open because I love the sunlight. But shooting videos, we kind of wind up having to have it closed so it focuses on us and not the sun. All right, so with the hummingbird food, I'm using white sugar. We don't eat white sugar. We use the organic sugar if we're using sugar at all, which is very rare. But for some reason, I read this somewhere, you can't give the organic sugar to the hummingbirds. It has to be this white sugar. So that's what we're doing. And we're going to create the hummingbird food in this 2-cup glass. And here's the ratio. It's going to be 1 part sugar, so whatever that is, and then 4 parts of water. Now, I got to make a solution. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got the tea kettle on in the expanded pantry over there. And that's heating the tea water, which is, there's not tea, but it's the induction kettle. That's going to heat the water up to get it really hot, and I'm going to pour the sugar in here with a bunch of ice and then some of that hot water to kind of give me a solution, and I'm going to use the ice to cool it down a lot quicker so I don't have to wait as long to pour it into my glass hummingbird feeder, and we'll hang it up outside. So that's the plan. I just make my own hummingbird food with the sugar and the water. It's very simple. And I don't have to worry about, running out of, hummingbird food from Lowe's or wherever you get it. It's just made with stuff we have in the house. So that's what we're doing first. So I'm making 2 cups of it. So I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of the sugar, the white sugar, and 2 cups of the water ice mixture. So here we go. I just went to Fry's and bought this. Another thing is, we started the channel in 2018. This is the first time that's ever happened. There's dirty dishes on my counter. I can't get them all washing through the dishwasher before I need to shoot this video. So I'm just dealing with it. So, I know that you've never seen my kitchen dirty, and the kitchen isn't dirty. I've sterilized and wiped down everything. But that section, that's the waiting to go in the dishwasher section. And there's nothing I could do about it. Sometimes I'll hide them and move them around the house so you don't see them. But listen, now you can at least see my kitchen looks just like yours. Like, it works the same way. It doesn't always look perfectly clean because it's a working kitchen and we have dirty dishes. So there you go. You can start talking in the comments about me, about how dirty my kitchen is. And I don't care. All right. So I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of this sugar into this glass right here. And this is the only thing I use the sugar for, is the hummingbird food. We don't use it for anything else. That's it. All right, so I've got some ice ready to go. So I'm going to pour the hot water in first and mix it to make a solution. Pour about a cup of hot water and then about a cup of ice to bring me to the 2 cups of water to go with the 1/2 cup of sugar. So that's the plan right now. I'm just waiting for that water to come to temperature. So I don't know if you can see this. There's a whole bunch of these things. Chotes, or what are they called? I don't know. Chotes. I want to keep saying Chakotay, but that's a character on Voyager. And today is not Star Trek Day, it's Star Wars Day. But there are these green, like pear-looking vegetables, or maybe they were fruit. Lex, the last Thursday of every month, the school has all this food that's going to go bad. so you can stand in line and they give it out to the needy. Oh, this washer's done. So at the end of the school day, if the needy hasn't shown up to collect this food, they just throw it on the table, the cafeteria, and anyone can take it. And that's it. So Lex won't go and take food away from people who really need it, but if it's going to go bad, he'll grab it. So he grabbed, I don't know, 10 or 12 of these things because they're sitting on the table. He's one of the last classes out of the school, and they're still there, and they're just going to get thrown out. So he grabbed all these. I don't know what to do with these. Do you have any recipes for these? If you do, let me know in the comments below and tell me how you cook them, and I would love to try one of those recipes. And then, I don't know if you can see all this, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these cherry tomato little boxes here. And I'm guessing they're all going to go, like, expire here in the next, like, day or two. So I'm going to make something with these. So we're going to use these. We'll make pico with this right here. But like it always just makes me laugh. Lex shows up, right, in the needy line, which he's not really, but I'm kind of picturing that, like he's there to get the free food, and then needs someone to help him walk it out to his electric car, right? Like it's just so, I don't know, bizarre. But you know, he knows that this is going to go to waste, so he grabs it, and then his electric car is like 13 years old. It only goes 20 miles before it has to be recharged. Like, you know, it's not, you know, anything new or anything, but just the idea of it just kind of makes me laugh at times. But you know, there's just something about Lex and me where watching food that's going to go to waste is really painful for the both of us. So we're going to do something with it. All right, the tea kettle's done. I'm going to go grab that water. All right, so I've got my tea kettle here, and I'm just going to pour in. Got a whisk right here. I'm going to pour in about a cup of this water. I want to mix up that sugar so it dissolves. So I'm going to mix this up so I get a solution. Actually, it's already like pretty mixed. And then I'm just going to pour some of this ice in until I get the 2 cups I need. Hopefully I don't even have enough ice, but that'll be fine. And I can add a little bit more water. I do got to make sure that all of this ice melts, otherwise I won't get it into that little container. All right. I'm just going to kind of whisk this together. And once all those ice cubes are melted, I can pour it into this glass decanter here and hang it up outside, and the hummingbirds will be able to eat again. I kind of do this every weekend. If the feeder gets empty before, well, actually the water shouldn't stay there a week, and it usually doesn't. I'll put this out there, and it'll be gone in about 2 days. And then I'll take it down, because if I can't get out there to refill it, I don't want them going to an empty feeder, because they don't know, they think it's a flower, so when they go there, they're expecting whatever they get out of there, the nectar or the whatever they do, and it would be very confusing for them to go there to this thing that looks like a flower, and there's nothing there. So the minute it starts getting empty, I pull it out of there, and I'm okay if I don't get to it till the weekend. I don't care if there's no hummingbird food out there. I just don't want them to be tricked into thinking there's food there when there's not, because you know, that's not a thing. So, all right, we're nice and melted here, and actually it's nice and cool, so I can just probably put this right out there. Oh, it's cold. Perfect. So I am going to fill this up, and it usually takes the whole 2 cups. So this is enough for one, like, fill up of this. This water is very sticky, like it gets on everything. You kind of have to rinse it right away. All right, so that's done. I'm going to throw this in the sink. And then I'm just going to take this right here and put it right on top of this. This is the bottom of it. And then I'm going to try and flip it up in one motion without spilling it. Like that. And then I'm just going to take the top of this, which is kind of the hook thing, and put this on. And this allows me to kind of hang it up now. So that's what I'm doing. And we're going to go hang this up on the tree. Perfect. Lex just got down here. Do you want to hold my camera and film me so I don't have to move the camera? You want to come over here and say hello or no? All right. Hey! What's up? All right. Hey, can you grab my phone, which is right there? What? No, I don't want to drag that. Grab my phone. All right, Lex is going to follow me with the phone, and I'm going to show you this hanging up. All right, let's go. All righty. All right, now it's a lovely hummingbird feeder, ready to entertain the guests. You can see I've got the fountain going there, and There's no wind, but here's the little thing. So this is ready for the birds to do their thing. All right, let's go back in. All right, so next we're gonna make our Instapot pinto beans. I would say this is a signature recipe of ours. This is for Lex. It's not a high protein meal. It's the foundation of it is pinto beans, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, pinto beans are higher protein." They're not. Pinto beans are a carbohydrate. They're not a protein. They have protein in it, but they're not the foundation of any type of protein in a meal. Regardless of what you read on the starch solution or any of that stuff. There's not enough. You'd have to eat thousands of calories of pinto beans every day to get enough protein to build any type of muscle or anything. But for Lex, this is fine. He likes going to Chipotle like twice a week, and for me, I could just make this stuff at home. I know there's no like oil in it or sugars or any of that. And it's much better for him. Plus, he gets his cashew cheese sauce, which he can't get at Chipotle. So this is a better deal for him, but this is one of our signature recipes that people have asked for many, many years, and it is the absolutely best way to make beans. They taste delicious. So I'm going to use that, and we'll get started here. I've got my Instapot. I do have a much bigger Instapot, but this smaller one, this works fine for this. I just realized there's no ring in here because I took it out to wash it. So I need to put that back on. All right, the ring of the Instapot is in there. I know that you can't see that, but it is. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to set up the overhead camera so you can see the stuff going in here, and then we'll get started. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim has joined me. Here you go. All right, so Tim, here's what we've been doing since you've been running around and doing other stuff. We're making the Instapot refried beans, and I know we promised them a cookbook. My cookbook's here. I need to make it in a format that you can use, but this is my recipe. We're going to start with a pound of, actually, let's saute the vegetables.
We want to saute first.
So we're going to saute the onions and garlic. So let's pop those in here. And I've got an onion that Tim was nice enough to chop, because I hate chopping vegetables. And we're just using a whole onion, right? And you can't have too much onion. And we're going to use 4 to 6 cloves of garlic. So there you go. And I'm going to turn the Instapot on saute right there. And then we'll give it a moment. Let's put a little bit of the water in that we're going to use. Just a little bit. All right. And we're going to saute these for like 4 or 5 minutes until it turns brown. All right. Let's grab a wooden spoon over there.
So you scrape the bottom?
Well, just so we can keep it moving. And then I do have a second camera up here, which I'll be cutting to. When I say second camera, I mean my phone, which I'll be cutting to give you an overhead of that. And there we go. So let's just give this a few minutes to do its thing. When I first got the Instant Pot, I would put it on saute and put the cover on, and I couldn't get it to work. And it didn't occur to me that you have to have the cover off to saute.
Yeah.
It doesn't saute unless the cover's off. So if you don't know that, that's a thing. So we have kind of an ambitious list of stuff to do today. And, it's now 2:50, and at 5 o'clock I got to start doing my work for tomorrow. As a teacher, I have to plan my whole week. Sunday night, that takes hours, of which I don't get paid for. So that's what I'm doing. But today we're going to do this Instapot beans, right? Again, and that's for Lex again, right? We're going to do our cashew cheese sauce, our cashew kind of queso nacho cheese sauce, because so you can have the nacho cheese with the beans, right?
Yeah, it's more than just beans, burritos. We also use it a little bit on cheese macaroni.
Yeah, although we're doing cheese and macaroni with a different cheese. He likes it with pretzels.
But just having it there has so many uses.
Yeah.
And a pretzel bite as well.
Yep.
So
like with soft pretzels from Costco, we'll buy those and he'll use our cheese sauce for that.
Yep.
We're also going to make a powdered mac and cheese because he wants mac and cheese at times during the week, and we do like a powder, and it's just available when he wants mac and cheese. We just heat up some pasta, and then it's like a box mac and cheese, like a powder, except we make the powder to cashews.
Yeah, something for him ready to go, portion out. It's so much easier on his life, and then if you buy the vegan cheese macaroni in the store, there's so many ingredients, yeah. So it's totally worth doing or having prepped.
Yeah, other than the macaroni is not a whole food. It's almost a whole food plant-based mac and cheese, right? So we're doing that for him. We're also going to do salt and pepper tofu. I'm going to cut up some of the very high-protein fava bean tofu and just salt and pepper it and cook it so I can just have it like during the week for meals.
All three of us, even Lex, will just snack on that.
We all love salt and pepper tofu, so that's a good deal there. we're going to bake some sweet potatoes. Because we're having the salt and pepper tofu from the fava bean, and we have a bunch of seitan,
Yep.
those meals are so high in protein and so low in calories that we can include carbohydrates like sweet potato.
Like a sweet potato.
Yeah. Without those, we can't have sweet potatoes.
And still be in your calorie
right,
deficit,
still be in our range. Right. We're going to do that. Tim's going to cut some watermelon because I need fruit during the week. It's my pre-workout. And then we leave any of these. We're going to make some pico de gallo, because Tim likes to eat chips. And chips don't do anything for me. I'm all about the chocolate, but Tim likes the chips, and we'll just eat like store-bought stuff. Well, Lex brought all those tomatoes home, right?
Yeah.
I was just telling him about that. Perfect for pico de gallo, don't you think?
And it's something that we made when we first started this channel. So, I don't know, like 4 or 6 years ago.
So a long time. Well, 2018. Yeah, almost 10.
Yeah.
So we're going to make pico de gallo, and then every Sunday night, Tim has to make pizza for Lex, because Lex still can't cook for himself, and Tim will make pizzas ready to go. Except we are going to make our high-protein pizza dough with the vital wheat gluten. And we had a video on this right up here on how to do that, but we actually have changed the recipe to make it much more protein rich before you ever put any toppings on it. So you don't really need the seitan on it.
Yeah, since we've been eating it every Sunday, we've just sort of been pushing the envelope with that and growing. So.
I love pizza. I'm not giving it up to eat this way, and Tim does a really good job. His pizzas are great. So that's the goal. Will we get to all this? I don't know. The first thing we're doing is the IP beans. And they are almost ready to start putting the rest of the ingredients in.
Yes, we're hoping to do this all in a certain time frame, so this is ambitious. You'll probably see us going back and forth between things, but it gives you an idea.
Yeah, lighting's going to change. It's going to look horrible. Like, that's just the way it's going to be. But this is the way meal prep videos are, and it'll take me a very long time to edit it, so I don't know that hopefully it'll be out on Tuesday, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens. All right.
Okay.
So I think we're getting to a point here where the onions are starting to look translucent, right? It's looking pretty good. We're very close. All right, and Tim just reminded me, we are making bolognese sauce too, high-protein bolognese. That's kind of his main staple all week that you're making for lunches, right?
It's one of the things, I'm just on this bolognese kick, and it keeps me from going down to the cafeteria to get food that's already made. So this is great, and we have some high-protein pasta as well. Mm-hmm. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I'll give you the macros for that later on, but it's fantastic. All right, we're going to pop in the 1 pound of pinto beans. Now, these are dry beans, although they're wet because I wash them, but they're not cooked. So it's just 1 pound of uncooked pinto beans. And just kind of mix this in, and then let's get the seasonings in.
And this really isn't hard to do, right?
Very
but it's so worth it, I think. And it's cheap. This is very inexpensive when you're using dried beans.
Yeah. An onion and dried beans. I mean, you can get a pound of beans at the dollar store for 99 cents. The spices, you're using just a little bit. It's water, and an onion is cheap. Like, this is a very cheap meal.
Okay. So I noticed that you did not put the water in here.
Not yet. I want the spices in to kind of activate them.
Exactly. That's where we're headed.
Yeah. So the spices are all teaspoons. So let's grab a teaspoon. All right, so Tim, and we like to double the spices. You do you. So we're going to start with 2 teaspoons of chili powder there. So let's pop that in. There you go. Let's do 1 more of that. All right, and then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of cumin.
I mean, really, if you're not using a lot of salt, beans can handle a lot of flavor, so.
And then we are going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
If you are salt-free, go ahead and leave it out. So it's up to you. No one in this house has high blood pressure or anything. So
and we're exercising. And
yeah, I mean, we do a lot.
This is good. So.
I mean, yeah. I got a lot of problems, but salt isn't one of them. All right. So that's salt in there. I'm going to cancel the heat on the Instant Pot. So you could just throw it all together and cook it, but we want to activate the spices.
That's right. Exactly what I was going to say.
Why is it you only want to talk when I'm talking, and then I stop, you don't? And now it sounds like I'm talking over you and people get mad.
No. But to activate the spices, we see this in other cultures like South Asia.
Oh, India for sure.
India, right?
Yeah.
This method of activating this.
All right, so all that's in there. We're also going to toss in a can of hatch chilies, or these are just green chilies, but you can do hatch chilies. We just pop these in because we had these one day when we were cooking. We just threw them in to use them, and we like having them in there, and there you go. So
it adds some amino acids, I guess, as far as protein profile.
Yeah.
So any green chili or jalapeno.
Yep. And you can put regular ones in, like, without being canned, but, I mean, we have them. And then the last thing we're putting in is 6 cups of water. You can use broth, but then it gets a lot more saltier. So we've always used water, and it's always been fantastic. So I don't know that you need to worry about putting in broth in with all that salt. All right, so that's it right here.
Yeah, we use basic spices. I'm sure you have those. So as far as enough flavor in here, you're going to accomplish that without having to use stock. And then you add the price to it as well. So
these are very, very flavorful. Like this bean recipe, if you this is the one recipe where people comment over and over again, like, this is the last bean recipe I'm ever making. This is it. And this is a Pioneer Woman recipe that I changed to work for us. It was one of the first recipes I did. I changed her recipe, got rid of all the fat and the lard and all that stuff. It was one of the first things I did, and it's the one that we've kept all this time. All right, so we're gonna put the lid on here, right? And there you go. Set it to sealing position, and we're gonna cook it on high for 35 minutes. So manual, 35 minutes. All right, and that'll do its thing. And in 35 minutes, we're gonna have amazing beans. Now, we have a video we used to make from this originally where we mashed them up to refried beans. We don't do that anymore. We leave them whole. We eat them whole. You can absolutely mix them up as refried, but ever since Lex started going to Chipotle and sees they're whole there, he likes them whole. So you can do what you want with them. We're just going to leave them whole.
Yeah. You can always mash them. You just can't unmash them, right? So, okay. All right. We're going to set this aside.
We'll let this aside, and then I think we're going to swap out the dishes, clean that up a little bit, and then we'll pick it up with the next thing.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what's going on here. I've got 2 blocks of tofu in a cloth towel with the weight on it to just kind of, like, what do you call that? With the
we have a tofu press for this,
yeah.
But this is just much easier.
Yeah,
and really, when we were using the fava bean tofu, it's pretty dense already. It's not a lot of water loss, but
yeah. So he's doing that.
So we get that started and we push that aside.
So you'll just kind of see this here. Tim is working on pizza dough, right?
Yeah, I think we should do this next. So it's got time to rise and ferment. So.
Yeah, the pizza dough is kind of an all-day affair, right? Or it takes a few hours.
Well, yeah, you got to get it started early enough, and then it'll be ready when you're.
Is this the high-protein one we're making?
That's what we're doing.
All right.
All right. So I think the first thing we want to do is get our yeast going.
Yeah.
So a little warm water, and then our yeast. So in this one, I'm using about 4 teaspoons of active yeast and like a cup and a half of water just to get that going.
So, and that's doubled what we normally make. So the recipe actually is 2 teaspoons and 3/4, right?
Yeah.
But we keep in mind we're doubling the recipe because one pizza is not going to cut it for Lex, right? We do this. We cook lots of stuff, so we have food all week long.
Exactly. So pizza is one of these things. It's not so large. They're little personal pizzas, right? We put them in the refrigerator, and then Lex puts them in the air fryer. Comes out awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's definitely room to critique our pizza creating here, but this works as far as the macros, and to have it just feels like a treat. So
pizza recipe we're doubling, but and we'll have, this is a recipe we have on our website, plantbaseddads.net, high protein pizza dough, and it'll be there. You can download it and do it yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start for this recipe because we're doubling it. 4 teaspoons of dry active yeast.
Yeah, we're doing that next.
That's a half a teaspoon right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do 8 of those.
Yep.
Do you need the tea kettle water?
Yeah.
5, 6. All right. I'm going to grab the tea kettle water, which should still be warm.
Yes.
All right, so the tea kettle water is a little hotter than it has to be less than 109 degrees, right? 110. How does that work? So otherwise, you'll just kill the yeast. You'll just burn it to death, and that won't work. So you kind of have to get the temperature correct when you're doing. This is why I don't like to bake, because I just burn them all. So Tim knows the temperatures, but I think it's like 109. You can't go over that. We're just going to use a candy thermometer in here, just kind of see what the temperature is of the yeast water, or of the water before we put the yeast in it. All right, so we're right about the temperature we need to be at. So we're going to pop the water and the yeast in.
So we're just getting started here. We have a cup and a half of water, warm water.
Yep.
And then our yeast here, which we did, we doubled the yeast, so we're at 4 teaspoons of yeast.
and
Okay.
a cup and a half of warm water, but we doubled it, so it would be 2 teaspoons and 3/4 of a cup.
Yeah.
So we're kind of mixing that up a little bit. Can't really see that because we're working behind this thing here, but that's okay. Like, do you need
I'm giving it a stir, so it incorporates with the water a little bit.
All right, so why are you throwing sugar in here?
All right, we want to feed the yeast a little bit.
The yeast eats sugar?
Well, since we use that much yeast, I just want to make sure it's activated.
All right.
So I'm looking for bubbles, and you can see there's bubbles from stirring it, but it'll become frothy on top, and that's kind of what we're looking for. So we're going to set that aside.
All right, so you're looking for the yeast to start eating the sugar?
Correct, and then we know it's activated, and that's the water we're going to use.
All right,
Okay.
so what's next?
Let's do 350 grams of flour.
So it's 175 grams for the recipe, and we're doubling it to 350.
Yeah. I have a little bit of starter for sourdough, just to see if we can add some.
You can smell it, like it's sourdough. Woo!
Yeah. Okay. This is half flour, half water. So when I look at this and I see 350 grams, we're going to use whatever I put in here. As far as a weight, we're just going to use half of that.
Tim's throwing some of his sourdough starter in. Normally we don't put this in, so it's not going to be in the macros, but these pieces are for Lex, so he's not really worried about macros. But for you can leave that out. But Lex likes the taste of the half sourdough in here.
All right. So I came up with, this is 36 grams of sourdough starter.
Yeah.
Again, this is kind of an experiment as we're making these pizzas. We're adding things. So
Yeah.
36. So since it's half water, half flour, we're going to take half of this. So let's just say 15 grams.
If you're trying to figure the calories out?
Yep.
Yeah, don't worry about it because Lex is really eating these, and if you make these, you're just going to leave the starter
No,
out.
okay. So it calls for 350 grams of flour.
Yeah.
So we're going to minus that 15 from there.
So let's put on 335 grams of flour, right? Is that what's next?
Yes. So I'm just looking for the flour.
I moved it around. It's over here. Normally the stuff on the counter, flour and all that stuff, and I move it for filming. One, so we don't look trashy. Two, because I just need the space to cook in, right? So there it is. So it's over on the table. So 335 grams to come up with the flour from the start. I'll give us 350. Plus, we're going to put in 28 grams times 2 because we're doubling the recipe. So 56 grams of vital wheat gluten. All right, so that's what Tim's doing, 56 grams of vital wheat gluten. This is a specific measurement based on the amount of flour. There's a whole formula on how to figure out how much to put in to get the protein you're looking for. So we'll probably go over that in another video, but for now, if you want to get the macros we're getting out of this, which is a high protein pizza crust, then that's what we're doing. So in the end, it winds up being 175 grams of flour for the one recipe and 28 grams of vital wheat gluten. But again, we've doubled it, plus there's a starter in it, so we compensated for that. All right. So how are we doing here?
It's good.
That's just kind of a sifter type of thing. It gets
Yeah, so we've got the 2 different flours going, right?
Right.
So I just took out this Danish hook. You can use a whisk, correct?
It's a fancy show. How does
yeah.
the yeast look? Does it look like it's doing anything?
Yeah, let's take a look at that right now.
All right.
Okay. So you can see in here, see how it's a little frothy, a little foamy?
We'll show them up there in the camera. Right here.
Foamy, a little
Hold
frothy.
it over this. Yep, there you go. So it's a little foamy and a little frothy. Do you see that or no?
Yep.
I don't see that. All right, so you're just mixing that in?
I've given it another stir here.
All right.
We're going to mix this in.
There you go. And the Instant Pot did come up to pressure for the beans, so it's doing its thing. All right, so what happens here?
Great. All right, so now we want to mix this up. For sourdough bread, I like using my hands. I like to feel where it's at in the process, that sort of thing. Pizza dough is another thing. So I use this particular bowl so it can go into our mixer.
All right, so it's going on the stand mixer?
Yep.
All right, so Tim's bringing it to the stand mixer. I ain't dragging the cameras over there, so you just have to take our word for it that he's doing it, and we'll show you what it's like.
In the KitchenAid, we had the flour, right, and the water and the yeast, and so we spun that around for about 7 minutes. I had a little bit of disaster. Flour was flying out a little bit more than I wanted, and so.
And you may have noticed it's much bigger than it originally was when we went in.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Because we had a conversation at dinner last night, and Lex really wants more pizzas or a little bit larger. So I realized looking at the dough we were making, it wasn't enough. So we doubled our double recipe.
So now it's a quadruple recipe.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Metal spatula, I love using it on the counter. It works really well for me. Getting it out of a pan or that you're mixing in and stuff, this where the flexibility of a plastic spatula really comes in handy. Anyway, we've got our dough here. I'm just going to kind of shape this and get it ready and put back in the same pot we used to mix in, so then we're not using so many dirty dishes. But
So is this the kind of the kneading part, or bringing it together?
I'm kind of just forming some tension, and I want to get it into a nice tense bowl to put it in there. This dough is pretty wet, and I guess I just realized now that I have too much flour on the counter. But anyway, so I take the spatula and I just kind of go around, sort of tucking it in. But you can see it's pretty jiggly.
All right, so there's a lot of gluten in this, right? Because we used about a wheat gluten. So
correct.
It's going to be very kind of spongy.
So you want to stay around to see what the final product is. And then, so once this ferments and pops, then that's when we'll start dividing up into our balls. So let's let this set.
All right, so right now we've kind of done this, and it's just gonna. Do we put it in the back of the bowl?
Yes,
all right.
That's what I was looking for.
Right.
Okay.
I just took it out of the picture. So we'll put that right in here, and when you're ready, you can lift it up, and I'll put it in place, or I'll put the bowl in place. All right. Some last minute folding.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Pop it right in here. All right, so we're gonna leave it in there. And like on videos, I see people like olive oil the sides and all that. We don't need to do that, right?
Yeah, it's your preference, but if you do, like we've got some avocado oil spray, I could use that, but
we normally don't.
Yeah, we normally don't. This recipe's so forgiving. So we're gonna get this rise again. When we take it out, that's when we're gonna section up into our portion-sized pizzas that we'll weigh out.
We'll have to figure out how many pieces now, because we quadrupled the recipe.
Yes.
Right.
So we'll figure out all that math. But
so we'll lay this like on top of the range area.
I'm gonna get a flour sack that's wet and just put over that so it doesn't become tough or dried out. Okay.
And in the meantime, while we're cleaning up here, the Instant Pot beans are done. The timer went off, so we can jump over there and pull those out. So we'll clean this up, and we'll get on that. So the Instant Pot beans are done. They smell delicious.
So good.
This is an amazing recipe. It tastes delicious. It smells delicious. So what we're going to do is get the beans in here and then fill this up with the liquid, the aquafaba, which is the cooking liquid, to keep the beans moist so they're not just dry in here. Because that liquid they're in, that's the flavor. So that's what we're going to do next. So let's grab the spider first. So we have the beans for sure. All right, so we're just gonna get this close to this and just spider these things out. Oh man, how good that looks! Holy smoke!
Yes.
You can see here you've got all the onions in there and the beans and the spices. Like it just smells delicious.
Yeah.
This is one of our favorite recipes. And what's going on outside? Sounds like there's birds dropping stuff on the.
No.
Hey, what is that?
It's actually a little rain.
Oh, is it raining? Oh, wow. All right.
And it's a metal roof, so we're going to hear it.
All right, there you go. All right, so we're just going to... You want to do it? Apparently, I'm not going fast enough. All right, so we got a little bit of rain happening out there. Kind of get this little bang that tings on the metal roof. That is some loud raindrops out there. All right, so there's not much beans left. All this water may actually fit in here, so... Alright, so I'm just going to take the water, this pot is really hot, and just dump as much of it as I can in here to keep the beans moist.
Yeah. Alright.
Alright, that was pretty good, right? There you go.
Alright, so we're not going to seal this up yet. We're
Yeah.
probably going to leave it on the counter to cool down a little bit to room temp and then put it in the fridge.
Yeah, we don't want to, because it'll just defrost everything in the fridge, right? Alright, let's put this back. We're done there. We're done with this. Let's throw this in the sink, and we're going to need this for the bolognese. Alright, we're just going to put this aside for now. We'll pop it over here out of the view of the camera. Let's wipe this up a little bit here. And then, for the beans, I just did do a natural release, but you don't have to do that. I just didn't get to it right away. You can just do a quick release. It doesn't really matter because the beans are cooked by the time that's all done, and they're not going to absorb all that water because it's just too much of it. All right, so we're going to do the tofu next. So let's grab that. It's in the back there. I just took it off the counter. We're going to make salt and pepper tofu. This is why I have trust issues. I opened up both of these boxes of fava bean tofu, and you really can't tell this, but like there's a huge difference in size, right? Like they're nowhere near the same size, and they're supposed to be 340 grams. All right, so the first one is 298 grams, about 42 grams short. The second one is supposed to be 340 grams. It's 411 grams, so it's way more. Just really bizarre. Like these numbers on here, they're not correct. You have to. This is why I weigh things to make sure that per gram or whatever, like I have the right amount of calories. Otherwise, if I was just cooking this block of 411 grams of tofu and just figured it out as 340 grams, my macros would be off, and I would be eating a lot more calories than I thought. So you really have to weigh this stuff. In the end, we're going to get, you know, the 700 grams that we need to get anyway, or the 700 and the 680 grams we're supposed to get anyway. It's close enough. So, but like, I don't know. All right, let's put that aside. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this into cubes. So even though I don't use a tofu press, the tofu press I bought did come with this little like cuber thing, right? Which I really like. So I am going to use that part of it. So while it'll cube it, it doesn't cut this way. So I have to kind of make some cuts here. Ken's making some chickpea flour over there out of the chickpeas. We're going to need that. I would have used Vitamix, but you think that's going to be okay?
I'm going to try it.
All right, see what happens. So while he's doing that, I'm going to cut this into kind of a cube format. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. I'm going to cut it this way. And then I can take my, I mean, you can just use a knife to cube it, but since I have this, I can take this here and just kind of cube it. And that's what I'm going to do. All right, there you go. And I just kind of push it down on the top without cutting myself. My chickpea flour is ready to go.
We're going to do a texture test first.
Yeah, it looks good. It's fine. All right, so that tofu is ready to go. And the bean tofu is so much like more mushier, right? Like it's not really like tofu, like soy tofu. All right, now this, even if I cut it once the thick way, it's really too big, too thick to be cubed the way it is because there's so much extra fava bean tofu in this package. So I'm just gonna cut it twice the long way. And then just go all the way down with this thing, and hopefully we're in a good spot. You gotta decide what to do here. I guess that's good enough. All right, all the way down, push it down, and there I've got my cubes of tofu. I gotta be careful because
it's pretty sharp.
Yeah, these little knives here. So, oh, there goes that. All right. So there's quite a few ways you could do this. My preferred way is to just put this in a bag and shake it. So that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to, in the bowl, we'll put the chickpea flour. So it's a package of tofu and a quarter cup of chickpea flour. We're doubling it because we want enough food all week, right? Did you?
After you put it in, I was going to put
it in.
All
right. Well, we're going to just shake it anyway. It doesn't matter. And then let's get the tofu in there carefully. Did that go on the floor or do you got it? Did you make it? Oh my gosh. It's not going so well. All right. And you just kind of want to make sure they're all separated. And he's going to pour the rest of it in there. So it's a half a cup with the doubled recipe of chickpea flour.
So this is it. You don't add any more, you don't add garlic or anything to it?
We do.
Oh, okay.
We're not there yet. You got to pace yourself. And we're going to put in some salt, some pepper, some garlic powder, and onion powder. So let's grab that. And we also need some cornstarch or arrowroot powder. All right, to this we are adding half a cup of cornstarch, so it's equal amounts of chickpea flour and the cornstarch. So let's grab that, and half a cup of this, and we probably should have did this like Tim said, all in a bowl first and then added the tofu, which is how we normally do it, but there you go. All right, here comes the rain. So we need 2 teaspoons of sea salt, garlic powder, and onion powder. So that's what we're doing next. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of onion powder. There you go. And we've got 2 teaspoons of garlic powder next.
Even when I'm coating cauliflower for buffalo cauliflower wings, it's kind of the same dry recipe here as far as garlic and maybe you would add paprika, but...
And then 2 teaspoons of salt.
Okay.
Again, you can leave the salt out, but it's salt and pepper tofu. Alright, so we're just going to take this and put the lid on the bowl. You could use a Ziploc bag. We have Ziploc bags. But
just a minute. It's salt and pepper tofu?
Yeah.
We need pepper?
No, no pepper yet. I'm jumping the gun. That rain is just driving me crazy. I'm going to shut off the door. Oh, they closed. Oh my gosh. It is like suddenly just coming down with a burst of wind, like holy.
You can see out the window. It's going sideways.
It was just like tap, 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 boom.
Now I expect this during monsoon season where, you know, the wind and rain can kind of out of nowhere, but
we're not in monsoon.
This seems a little dramatic.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
We're good. Now we're gonna put the lid on, and we're just gonna be like coating this. Now the fava bean tofu is kind of delicate, so you don't want to break it or anything. So you're kind of doing this and kind of shaking it around and kind of doing this. The rain is just intense. Oh man, can you hear that?
It's rare to get rain, so
I know.
I'm a little excited.
Yeah. I grew up in New York. It rained all the time. I don't care. But if Lex hears the rain, he's gonna come running down because he's seen rain like 10 times in his life. All right, so I'm just kind of coating my tofu here, right? You can set the oven to come on at 390 degrees. You can preheat that. All right, you can kind of see here, like the tofu is just kind of really nicely coated. Look how beautiful that is. So we're ready to make the salt and pepper tofu. We're just gonna throw it in the oven and heat it up, and we'll just have cooked cubes of tofu. You can throw it in noodles. You can eat it by itself, which is how I eat it. Like you can. Okay, now the rain just stopped and there's nothing. And you can eat it by itself, which is I do it, or you can, do whatever you want with it. That's what I'm going to do with it. So let's get it on a tray and we'll get it ready to cook. All right, let's just start laying these out. You want to make sure they're not really touching each other. If you have to do 2 air fryer trays, that's fine. We doubled the recipe, so that is very possible.
It's kind of nice when we got this air fryer from Breville. You can order additional trays.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, like this air fryer gets used for reheating things for Lex during the week. It's just really nice to be able to pop it in.
Yeah, I mean it's Arizona. We try not to use the oven. I maybe used the oven 10 times this last calendar year. Like I try not to use it. So
yeah,
it's easier to heat up that little tiny air fryer oven than it is to heat the whole convection oven up.
Yeah. Okay, so this is salt and pepper tofu, right? So it's not a lot of taste, but it goes with a lot of things. You're welcome to dress it up more. If you wanted to use a fiesta seasoning, something, chili lime, that sounds great. Or adding some paprika to this. Anyway, this is just really a base. So.
Yeah. I just eat tofu cubes like this, like right out of the refrigerator. Like I don't even heat them up. I just eat them cold.
Yeah, in past videos, I think you've seen Lex do the same thing.
So when you're like snacking on something and you're in the refrigerator looking for stuff and you're just eating junk. I just eat this because it fills me up. It's loaded with protein. This stuff, the macros are so good on this that this is like a win-win situation. If I overeat on it, it's not that big of a deal because the calories are so low. I'm going to overeat on protein. So, like, it's a win-win. So I just keep this around as a last-minute thing to be able to make meals out of or just a snack on. Now, you do get a good brown on them, so you could do a little spray of avocado oil if you want, or you just leave it the way it is if you don't really care about the brown. So it's up to you. I've done them both ways. They're fine either way. I can't really taste the difference. All right, so we're going to take these. You can see them here. They're ready to go. We're going to take these, get them in the air fryer. It is 390 degrees. We're going to do 8 minutes. Get in there and shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them. And then 8 minutes again, so a total of 16 minutes. And they'll be ready to go. Let's get them in the air fryer. All right, so the next we're going to make is our powdered mac and cheese sauce. This is actually the Mielko's Shriner recipe, the well-crafted mac and cheese, so we're just making that. She's perfected it. Ain't no reason to improve something if it works. So it's going to go with a cup of cashews. All right, so we've got just kind of the plain cashews here. We need a cup. This is a quarter of a cup, so 1, 2.
We've been using this recipe for years. Just haven't ever had a need to modify it.
Nope, it works perfect. All right, so we don't need this anymore, and then we need...
That's 1 cup?
1 cup, and we need 3/4 of a cup of nooch. We're running low on the nooch over here. We always keep nooch on the corner of the thing within a jar. So 3/4 of a cup. There's 1/4. 2/4. Do you want to take the tofu out?
Yeah, that's what it
Yep, go ahead. 3/4. The tofu's ready over there. All right, after that, we need a 1/4 cup of oat flour. I don't need to keep oat flour in the closet. We got enough flours. So Tim just ground up some oats in the Vitamix here. So we're just kind of popping that in. A 1/4 cup of that. And then we're also putting in a 1/4 cup of tapioca flour. A lot of these recipes, it's the same amount of flour as you put in starch. So we're putting in 1/4 cup of that. There's my 1/4 cup. And there we go right here. Of course, we're throwing this into a food processor. All right. Next, we got a tablespoon of paprika. So here we go. You want to take care of that?
Sure.
I'll just read. Tablespoon of paprika, and then a tablespoon of organic sugar. It is organic cane sugar, so we're just using the canister.
How much?
Tablespoon. It's full X. And we need 2 teaspoons of powdered mustard. We can do that. What do you have there?
That's fine. Mustard's here.
2 teaspoons of powdered mustard. I think this is the only recipe we have. Well, this and the starch solution mayonnaise where we use powdered mustard. So 2 teaspoons of that. All right. Next, 2 teaspoons of sea salt. Oh,
it's a half.
Oh, right. Well, then we need 4 of those.
I've got a half teaspoon here, so we're just adding a little bit more.
You can't have too much powdered mustard. All right. After that, we're going to do 2... What?
It is a nice accent.
It is. After that, we're going to do 2 teaspoons of salt. That's half a teaspoon or a tablespoon?
Oh, half a tablespoon.
Okay, we're going to have quite a bit of spice in here. Leave that. That's good.
That's good.
That's about 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons is about half a tablespoon, so that's good.
Okay.
As far as paprika and powdered mustard, okay. All right, and then 2 teaspoons of onion powder, so about a half a tablespoon of onion powder.
Okay.
I don't care if it's too spicy. I don't think anyone's going to know the difference. That's good. All right.
Kind of the way we roll in this house.
Yeah, that's how we roll. As long as it isn't too much salt, that would be enough.
That's the big thing.
All right, so we're just going to blend this until it's all kind of come together.
Does it need more nooch, you think?
No. Here's the thing with this. You don't want to blend it too long because it heats it up and it'll become sticky.
Cakey?
Yeah, so you don't want that.
Okay.
So you almost kind of have to pulse it a little bit, but it has to be blended enough where, it's not grainy. So that's what we're doing here. And I'm going to move it around a little bit because I can see the stuff in the bottom that's not getting blended. So let me get here. I'm going to move this stuff around a little bit. All right. It's looking pretty good. We do, when we make this in the pot with the macaroni, we actually put a stick blender in and blend it anyway.
So that's the thing. It needs to dissolve, but the stick blender is going to take care of it.
It's going to take care of it anyway, yeah. And that's kind of how we do it. All right. So I'm just going to blend it a little bit more here. And you can see here, I'll grab a spoon, that we've got this beautiful, powdered mac and cheese powder, right? Except instead of it being a bunch of chemicals, it's all whole food plant-based, right? And here's how we use this. So this is 5 servings. When you make this, it's 1/3 of a cup of powder to 1 cup of plant milk. And there's 5 of those servings, all right?
Can you say that one more time? What was the...
Yeah, so you do 1/3 of a cup of this powder. So there's enough for 5 servings. So 5/3 of a cup. There's 5/3 in here. 1/3 of a cup of powder in the pot, and a cup of plant milk. So here's what I do. I cook my pasta, right? I get it all cooked. I throw it in the sink to drain in the colander, and I leave it. And then I take the hot pot that I had, and I throw a cup of milk in it. And I heat the milk, right? Because cashew has to be heated to come together. I heat the milk. I don't let it boil. I heat the milk till it's pretty hot, and then I dump my 1/3 of a cup in. I whisk it up, and then I take the stick blender and I blend. And then you'll see it. Cashews heated, they become creamy, and then I throw the pasta in. Mix it all up with a spoon, and I serve it. All right. All right. Let's put this in. We're going to need a funnel there. So we'll pop this right over here. Hopefully this can get this. 5 servings of this. A lot of times I make half of this at once, or maybe even all of it at once. and just throw it in the fridge into little containers. So Lex has mac and cheese anytime he wants, because he's not getting out a pot and doing this. So
Yeah.
it is okay to make it all at once and just portion it into 5 containers.
And he'll come downstairs hungry, right? Like all the teenagers.
Yeah.
And this really helps us too to say, sure, because then we know it's going to take 5 minutes.
If he's like, do you have mac and cheese? I hate saying, no, I don't have any mac and cheese. I'd rather go, yeah, I can throw it together in 5 minutes. You got a few minutes, right? That's it. Go do something and I'll let you know when it's done.
Yeah.
All right. So there it is. Our well-crafted mac and cheese, Miyoko's well-crafted mac and cheese, ready to go. And this recipe, with like everything else we've done today, is on plantbasedads.net. All right, you can print it. There's a PDF and put it in your little binder. All right, we're gonna clean up here and then decide what's next. All right, the tofu's so good. So the tofu's cooked. Just looks a little kind of more beige. That's it. It's really good. The fava bean tofu, I feel like, doesn't taste as good as the regular tofu. However, with this salt and pepper recipe, you cannot tell the difference. All right, let's get a weight on this and see how much we have. Let's put the container right there.
So we were kind of like, we did the wrong order for the cornstarch, but
It's all right, it doesn't matter.
the flavor's all in here.
Yep.
Like, it didn't make a difference.
It's because of the shaking and all, it's going to cover it anyway. So, all right, I want to know what we have here so I can divide the recipe into different pieces, because this is like 2 blocks of tofu. Well, different sizes. And that's about 4 servings, because I break this up into 2 servings. So I want to know how much, each serving is, and I'll do that by weighing the whole thing first, and then deciding, by 4 it's going to be however many grams or whatever. All right, so it comes out to about 640 grams. Divided by 4 is about 160, right? So I know I'm going to put a lid on here and say 160 grams per serving. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so what we're going to do is put the lid on here. We'll put a piece of clear tape on here, and we'll just write on the tape. Since it's not already portioned out, we're going to write on the tape 160 grams per serving. All right, and that means that's that recipe divided by 4. So I'll throw all this in, and I'll put the numbers on the screen here so you can see it, and you can see what each one of these servings comes out to as far as protein and macros and all that. And there'll be 4 total servings. All right, let's get this cleared up and move on.